the question there, but with you coaches head on, obviously Arne Slot will pick over that over the next few days. Sam, where does he start? Because there's a lot to look at, especially in that second half.
Yeah, there is. And only the first. And I go back, for me, you can lumber it. I thought Viet has been fantastic of late. And I even thought he had a great start. So lovely balls inside the fullback that went to more. We had 4 or 5 inside there in the channels, which put us on the attack. And then again, I put down back sloppy and frustration. I'm frustrated because we got sloppy.
Yeah.
Honestly, we should take less, when we've got dominance, take less touches, pass the ball with a bit more pace. And I repeat back, I don't mean hurried, I mean pace. Less touches, pace, pass and move. Because as usual, we had loads of possession in and around the area, but we never tested the keeper, Neil.
Yeah, a couple of late moments after 2-2 was when Viets had the cross come shot, which the keeper saved. Remember that one? Was that creeping in? It may have been creeping in. Went down as a goal kick.
We never even got a corner for that.
No,
it was an obvious save.
That was at 2-2, and also there was one chance late on when Viets was in the box, and he almost looked like he wanted to pass the ball when he was there to shoot. He could have been the match winner, and again that was at 2-2. I just felt as though the decision making, and you've mentioned being sloppy and frustrating. I thought we were wasteful in the final third. We scored 2 goals from set pieces, but I thought we were wasteful in the final third.
Just hurts more as well after midweek, where you felt that was a real performance to build on, Sam, and a real opportunity to kind of get some momentum, which it sounds weird because even though they've been on such a run, there hadn't been an awful lot of momentum within that run, and it felt like today was a good opportunity to do that, which is why it feels like an even bigger kick, I suppose.
And that's where the frustration comes in, to be perfectly honest, because we're looking for to kick on, okay, because it was 13 games unbeaten. There's a lot of draws in that, but you think the fantastic performance, the positivity from Marseille, we think, come on, please kick. And again, I don't want to disrespect Bournemouth in any way, shape or form. They were fighting for their lives. They had a lot of injuries, but we knew full well that they were going to be well organised with a great coach, so we knew that was going to happen. And we had them, and we had the momentum, and we let them off the hook. Because as you say, wasteful in the final third. It wasn't even the final third. It was like the edge of the box. We were passing, and we were slow with that. We were taking the extra touch, which allowed them to regain their shape and get bodies in and around the ball and between us and the goal. At times there were desperate blocks, but that's what a team in their position is going to do.
An air of a lot of frustration, I think, in the studio. Let's head to our fan panel and see if it is shared by them. Errol, you are first up. I imagine you're feeling just as dejected as we are here. You've got a smile on your face. Try and cheer us up if you can.
Yeah, well, I think one of Craig's friends has just reminded us that we're Premier League champions there in the background off screen, so that did bring a smile to our faces. But no, I have to agree with Sammy and Neil in the studio, to be honest with you, Becky, because I think it was an opportunity for us today to just kind of build on the momentum from midweek. It was a great opportunity for us to go to a side that is not in great form. They've got a lot of players injured, struggling at the moment. They've just lost one of their best and most promising talents to City in the January transfer window. So all the signs that you'd be looking for, pre-kick-off, were all there, pointing in Liverpool's direction. That Liverpool can get a 3 points under the belt and we'll be able to kick on. And I think, a lot of the things that have been our Achilles heel throughout the course of the season, or just reoccurring themes throughout the course of the season, just crept back in. Poor game management at times. I think again, set pieces, those long throws into the box, of course, there's untold problems this season. But once again, the lads look a little bit panicked. We look a little bit frail mentally, if I'm able to say that in such a way. And I was just disappointed that the lads, when you get back to 2-2, at that point, I'm in the studio, I'm looking at the other lads around me, I'm thinking, do we just take the draw at this point? Because, we've not been great so far. We haven't really, Bournemouth haven't had to play. We've kind of gifted them a couple of opportunities, but let's just take the point and get out of dodge. We can go again next week against Newcastle, and unfortunately it just seems to be, the way our season's been going. And I think the big thing is, I think Bournemouth owed us one. I think the reverse.
Errol, sorry to interrupt you. I get what you're saying about take the draw, but you don't need to take the draw, mate. We can still go for it as long as we keep disciplined and organised at the back. Because you quite often find if you go for draws, you end up getting beat. For me, we can still go for the win, but just keep it tight and organised at the back.
And I normally agree with you, Sammy, absolutely. But I think it's the PTSD of this season when we can see that the results aren't going our way. Sometimes it's like, it's better to be safe than to be sorry. And again, just kind of turning it into a bit of a basketball game and letting it go end to end. It just did. After we scored the Szoboszlai free kick, they nearly went up the other end of the pitch and scored. It was like there was no kind of mindset to say, do you know what, lads, let's just take the sting out of this game for the next 2 to 3 minutes and get our foot on the ball, and then let's see if we can go again. You know, that long minute between 80 odd to the 94th minute, that's still a long time in the game to try and manoeuvre something and to try and craft open an opportunity. But we're not boxing smart at the minute, Sammy, and I think that's
the term you used before, which is the right term, game management. At that point, we manage the game properly. You can still go and win it, but still keep it tight at the back. That's what game management is. You know, because honestly, if you decide to settle for the draw, you end up going deeper and deeper and deeper and inviting them onto us. I think the biggest term you use, which is the correct term, is game management. And we still could have gone for the win, but just make sure we don't turn it into, as you said, and I said in comms, into a basketball game where we have a shot, they have a shot. That's game management, what you so rightly said. I totally agree with you there, Arnold, yeah?
No, and I think that's it. And I think it's been a problem for us for a lot of the season. And I think Bournemouth, again, will be absolutely made up because they owed us one. You know, the game at Anfield earlier in the season was topsy-turvy. You know, they came back from 2-0 down, and then Liverpool go and get 2 last-minute goals. And the scoreline made it look better. But in reality, you know, that was at a moment in the season where we thought, how many of those games are we going to have in us this season where we get out of jail free card? And we kind of ran out of our luck a little bit.
Errol, we'll come back to you in a bit, but I'm going to move on to Molly. Molly, Errol was saying there he feels that a lot of the frustrations this season have kind of been encapsulated in that one game tonight. It was a pretty frustrating watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree with, what has been shared so far. The end of the match felt like, okay, we've seen this before. And going down 2-0, that first goal, my thought was it is going to be about mentality now. Like we've talked about, when we concede, we have a really hard time staying in the game, fighting to get those points. And so not only to go down 1, but 2 so quickly, and then turn back around and level it, it felt really hopeful. And then, at the end to there give up the final goal just felt really defeating. The word I shared with some friends was just brutal. Like I didn't have another way to describe it. And after such a strong run of unbeaten matches, such a promising showing at Marseille and Champions League, I never walked into this game thinking this was going to be the final result. It really felt like this was going to be the one that was going to end the streak of draws in a positive way and not in the streak of draws in a negative way.
Yeah, Craig, I'll come to yourself. It just feels especially frustrating because in that first half, it almost felt like you could feel like the game was within Liverpool's grasp. It was kind of there to be got at. And obviously those 2 goals, the soft goals early on, then that really sets you on the back foot. And especially because you know that Bournemouth are going to then sit back and you're going to face maybe more of a low block that they've struggled with quite a few times this season.
Yeah, I just feel same as what the guys have said now. We just chased the game. Really difficult for us. I think there's 150 people in the bar. Was watching the game this evening and kind of quite everybody's sharing a similar frustration. Sammy talking there about testing the keeper. I think there's a lot of times that at the bar eating lads in here. Families that we've got here just saying, look, just shoot. Too many touches, and just maybe not that discipline towards the end of it. It's a shame as well for Joe Gomez, but we started really well. I think that was one of the great things, that was a really positive thing there, that we started well. But yeah, we just didn't take those chances.
Mels, what were your thoughts on the start? Because we were watching and you said maybe it wasn't quite as fluid as you wanted it to be at times. But
people will say good start, and a lot of people say that, but define a good start, because for me a good start is scoring a goal, because we had good territory, we had good positions, but the final ball wasn't there. Salah was in. Why is he not taking the shot? He's squaring the ball to Gakpo. So as much as we were the better team, I agree that we were the better team at the start. But a good start is to score, and you said that stat before. 2 goals we've scored in however many Premier League goals we've played. We've played 22 games. In the first 28 minutes, we've scored 2 goals in every Premier League game. it's not enough.
No.
So Bournemouth were nowhere near the start. We were the better team. But a good start for me is scoring when you're on top.
It's a very good point. Very good point.
And we had one shot. I don't even think it was on target. So that's my frustration. And Craig's mentioned there, and I agree with that about the goalkeeper being tested. I kept saying to you, how many times? When are we going to have a shot on target? And the only one we had in the second half was Soberslai's free kick.
Yeah,
that was a goal. That was the only one.
We're used to having extensive possession, aren't we, Sammy? It's kind of standard now every single game. But if you don't make the most of that, ultimately you run the risk of what's happened.
Very much so. And you think, back in the Barcelona days, possession won your games. I think it's proof now that possession doesn't win your games in the modern day game, for whatever reason. And I agree totally with what Neil's saying. And Craig was right, we had a good start. We all said, we put the ball in the channel for us to run onto. Mo, I don't know why he didn't take at least a touch to go and commit to defend. And for me, he tried to play it too early, but that's up for him to decide. But I agree totally with you. A good start is when with us being dominant, make sure with our dominance we score goals, because we haven't done that enough in the first half hour of many games, as you said, 2 is it, and whatever it is, and that's not enough. No. And lo and behold, we then go and concede, and we haven't done well when we conceded goals first.
Yeah, I mean, to their credit, I suppose what they have done in recent games is be more defensively sound, Mels, and obviously today that's kind of fallen apart a little bit.
It's frustrating, isn't it? Because at times in this run, we've had some good clean sheets in there. You think about the defensive performance at Inter Milan, Arsenal, Marseille. Good defensive displays. Keepers had to make the odd save. But it wasn't the same sort of defensive display tonight. And maybe the disruption of Joe Gomez being injured might have just disrupted the back four a little bit. Obviously, no Canate. He's been missing for a couple of games. We presume he'll be back soon. And then with the window open, you look at Endo being the centre half. He's not a centre half. He's a defensive midfield player. So there's a lot of games left to play. There's a lot left to fight for this season. You've got some big games around the corner. Champions League game, not guaranteed top 8. Still got work to do there. We've got Man City coming up, Newcastle coming up, Sunderland away. So there's some big tests coming round. So if Gomez is out for a little bit of time, I'm not sure when Canate is back, we do look a little bit light in that area.